So, Commissioner, last night at the Board of Commissioners meeting, one of the topics of discussion was whether or not the board supported an elected school board. You said, I support the elected school board. So what led you to take this position?
Well, this is something I knew that had to happen for a long time. I was in there this past year fighting for the teachers' raises, which they definitely deserved. We had also the Board of Ed who gave themselves raises, though, before they gave it to the teachers. And I believe it was like 2.5%. What I noticed in there from attending these meetings is a lot of politics taking place. There's a lot of the administration working with the board to take care of each other. And the people that should be taking care of are the teachers themselves, who are teaching our children, who are spending the time with our kids and setting the example. And what I noticed here is that, remember something, this is a board that's appointed by the mayor. He has 7 people on that board right now. Over the past 2 years he's appointed. And obviously you see that there's a lot of obvious control there. You have a $110 million budget in the Board of Education. So the board is very important. That's what I need to express to the people so they understand. You have a board of 7 members. Again, they're appointed by the mayor, but what happens if we had an elected board? A board that was elected by the people for the people, which we desperately need here. This board is responsible for hiring and firing. In other words, all teachers every year that come in, whether they're new or they're being reconsidered for the job again, has to be approved by the board. There's been many situations where people have not been part of their group, or they're not part of this town, or for whatever reason. Could have been good teachers, could have been the greatest teachers, and we lose those good teachers due to this politics that exists here in West New York because of this, again, appointed board. And we need to see this become elected. Not only that, all the raises. In other words, if determine whether the Board of Ed was going to get a raise, if it was in the financial budget. This year, they did not have the money to even finish their budget. They had to hit the town again with a tax raise from the Board of Education. I mean, already they're being overpaid. A lot of these people, they're top heavy. It's over millions of dollars in the budget, just in the Board of Ed, not including the school budget. And I want to see these education dollars being spent on our children, on the programs. When I go into a meeting and I'm discussing whether we're going to do this tax raise or not, and the teachers are saying that they need books, supplies, and pencils, they should be ashamed of themselves for even having to say they need the money for that question. Meanwhile, they were giving raises to themselves in the Board of Ed where people are making $180,000 up to $230,000 a year. This is something that I want to discontinue. When I wanted to become the mayor, the last thing I wanted to do was control everything. If any decisions I was going to make as the mayor was appoint people who are qualified, people who are going to make a difference, people with education. We have members on that board. One of them is the deputy mayor. Don't you see that as a conflict of interest on the Board of Ed? Plus 7 others who are all employed by the town of West New York. And they all can be, in other words, if you don't vote my way, they remove their job from them. And they're all well taken care of. They're all making $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. This is why we need an elected school board. And this is something not only for us, but for our children. And I believe now, I have a son who's turning 4 this year. He will be attending the school system coming fall. And I want to see my son get the best education. Have supplies, have books, have pencils, markers, or whatever he needs. In other words, to make his education the best experience possible. Remember something, I always tell the parents, this is our future. We are responsible for our children, not the people, not the politicians of West New York. And this is where we get the opportunity to take that back now. We get an elected board. All it is with a simple touch of the ballot, voting yes to the question that you do want an elected board, and this can happen. And then we'll make sure that the people who get elected, that the people have the say about who's going to run their decisions for their children in the future.
I'm John Heides with Hudson County TV. For more information, log on to HudsonCountyTV.com.